Was there a clue in this episode that revealed that we're actually closer to meeting Breeze, but you didn't catch it? I know you're probably thinking, oh boy, not this again. But I promise you, I noticed a major revelation in this episode about Power's biggest mystery character, which already tells us that. What's going on, everyone? Just Be here, and we're breaking down the latest episode of Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, Season 4, Episode 3, titled Bygones. I love this episode, the pacing, the storytelling, the crafting and weaving of all the characters together in ways that feel so natural, organic, but also gives us a sense of connectivity to everyone on the canvas. Anyways, we're diving into the biggest parts of this episode right now. Let's go. Now in this episode, we start off with Unique running up on the Chinese restaurant distro, Richard and Sunny, who were working with him prior to his death, and then end up working with the Thomas family afterwards. He continues the belief that Ronnie trying to kill him was all a conspiracy that included Raquel. He robs them of product and cash and then deletes them right there and then. And later on, when Uncle Marv comes by to collect, he stops because the cops are there investigating the crime scene, which he later tells Rock about, and she has him look into the nephew who was just fired from the restaurant for stealing, as he is likely the suspect. So at this stage, everyone is clueless that Unique is going through and making moves on the family in the background like a ghost getting revenge. He anonymously drops off some cash to Pernessa's mailbox, still afraid to approach his family for some reason, which I'm not entirely sure why that is. Maybe you guys have a better insight into that, but he could believe that she may have had something to do with this whole thing, which is why he's continuing to just kind of stay to the side and just give money for the sake of his kid. Let me know what you guys think about why he's doing that in the comments. Marv ends up rolling up with force on Richard and Sunny's nephew and finds out that he's actually telling the truth about not doing it, and is heartbroken to hear about his uncle and aunt. Now, I enjoy the pacing of this storytelling in Raising Kanan because it's not just all shoot 'em up, bang bang, like how it is in Force and Ghost. There's actually a slow build. There's interconnected stories that all come together so that we can enjoy them. An example of this is actually Jukebox and Marv's relationship really turning around last season and seeing them bond as father and daughter, and him supporting her in her decision to not return to the army and having her back. Here's the thing that we need to talk about. I also find it interesting that we're now seeing Jukebox in community college, which leads me to believe that we're now in 1994 and no longer in 1993 in the show. Walk with me for a second. More evidence of this is the fact that Rock tells Kanan about the letter she got from his school, that he hasn't been there since the new year started. If we know at least 3 months has passed since we've seen season 3 and 4, and Rock explicitly mentions the new year, this means we're likely now in 1994. Which is 2 years away from 1996, which is famously known as the year in which Ghost kills Breeze. Just saying, we're quite close in the timeline, and some key things need to happen. All I'm saying here is that if we have almost less than 2 years for Breeze to become the beloved like a brother character that Ghost said he was, who was respected on the streets, he's a major connect, and who loves to watch Jeopardy at 7 p.m. We have that time frame to see him get introduced, do all that, and then die. Now, you guys do the math on that and who you think that can possibly be at this stage. I have my bets on who I think that is, but I'll reveal that in a later video. Anyway, Marv goes to Early looking for info and also uses him to help find Amber, who is the daughter of Gerald, who you remember died last season and was his friend, but also was a snitch as well. He wanted to make sure that Amber is being taken care of as she's now in the foster system. And the more I see Marv keeping secrets from Rock, from working with Stefano Marchetti, and also getting so close to figure out who's moving on their organization, I get nervous, you know. But let me know what you guys think in the comments about Unc, man, because they sure got him in big enforcer mode this season. One of the things I really enjoyed in this episode was the dialogue between Lowell Lou and Rilla about the perception of Jews and their behind-the-scenes influence and control in the entertainment industry. Now, this is a known thing in the real world, and I appreciate how they gave Lowell's perspective with him being Jewish and painting a picture of how he and Rilla, being black, aren't so different in how they're perceived. And he too came from nothing, and his family had to get it out the mud just as much as a lot of black people have to. But he's criticized for it more because he's still presenting as white, as if that makes his backstory any better. Now, I know there's some more behind it, guys, but this is just the argument that they're sort of laying out here in the show for a quick illustration. It's a heated exchange between the two, with Lou setting up this meeting initially to just try to get the record label to front Rilla some more cash because he has none and is staying with Lou. So they end up coming to an understanding eventually, and I think it's great to see this kind of mature conversation in Power again, because unlike some of the scenes in Book 2 Ghosts, where most of the adult conversations were the 2 minutes in class at the beginning of each episode where Tariq's professor presents his philosophical question for the day. So this was actually refreshing to see. Hold on real quickly. You guys want to see something crazy? Over 99% of you guys that watch my content are not subscribed. So I'm asking real quickly, if you don't mind, just hit the like button and hit subscribe real quickly. I'd love to keep on giving this content to you guys, and lets me know that people actually are interested. Feel free to do that, man. Really appreciate it a lot. Would help me out a long way in growing my small channel. Thanks. Now back to the video. Now, while we see Rock is more focused on trying to get the organization out from under Quan being the Connect, because he just out of the blue increased her tax and is kicking up all his attitude with it, she's now trying to find a new supplier, and she ends up reconnecting with Joaquin, who you remember she had dealings with in the past, including his cousin Juliana, who had to get taken out last season. He refuses to supply her some of the brown product, but introduces her to a new Connect out of town who is more than happy to. Now, in this episode, we ain't seeing much raising that was happening for Kanan, but he and Crystal managed to go apartment hunting after she is able to convince him of doing so, because she got spooked after an encounter with Unique earlier in the episode, who she didn't know was Unique at the time, and also adds to the fact that Kanan is also doing business from where he lives, which you typically shouldn't do. Luckily, they do manage to find a spot, and he starts the process of moving out. It seems by the time we get to that point in the episode, because Unique ends up coming back, busting in, and rolling up on Kanan's soldier at the old spot. So we'll see what happens from there, but Unique is surely making some brazen moves, and looks like he just wants to clean house. So I'm curious to see where this goes at this stage. Let me know what you guys think in the comments is going to happen with Unique. Now, this brings us to the Thomas family dinner scene, where for the first time ever in the show, I think we're seeing the entire family at Mama Thomas's house. And one thing that stood out for me when watching the scene is the fact that by the end of next season, which will be the final season, everyone at that table, with the exception of Kanan and Jukebox, will all likely be dead, if you think about it, based on what we knew and how the original Power went. Now, the jury is still out on whether Rock is going to be alive, as there's some conflict in how older Kanan referred to visiting her in the original Power, but it's still surreal to think about nonetheless. Anyways, their mother organizes this dinner to let them know that she has terminal cancer. Everyone ends up feeling different about this news and immediately brings a dark cloud into the room when she tells them. Now, Rock responds angrily and at the fact that she chooses this way to tell them, which we know that she still has major issues with their mother that they need to work out between each other. I'm guessing connecting back to her being the only daughter in the family. And we learn also that Mama T has a little history beating them as children a little too much, almost leaning into some physical abuse territory based on how it sounds. So Rock storms out, and I get a sense that these two have a lot of common ground they're going to find at some point. I believe this will end up being used as a bridge or even a parallel to address the wedge between Kanan and Rock at some point, which it's important to note, and my boy Mr. Power was talking about this in one of his videos as well. It's likely that Kanan could take out Rock, because he eventually takes out his own cousin and his own son one day. So interesting to see this dynamic play out, but That's my breakdown for today, guys. What do you guys think about this episode? I personally loved it. Feels like Raising Kanan is always consistent in its pacing and its storytelling. Like I mentioned before, the quality of it is different. Shout out to the cast and crew. Let's have the conversation in the comments, guys. Let me know your thoughts on this episode. And if you derived any value from this breakdown, listen, guys, hit that like button, man. Feel free to subscribe. I really appreciate it. Until next time, guys. Peace.